Come on, you know when you clap to that. You know you want to clap to that. Oh, listen, can I just say something? By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Mike Cerati. I'm the family life pastor here. It means I'm the youth pastor. I'm so glad that at the age of 38, I still get to go to that. If you're here and you're a parent and you don't get to go to that, I'm so sorry. You know, youth ministry is a cool job. You could do it. I'm just saying, it's fun. Anyway, hi. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you all for being here. We have about an hour's worth of content, and knowing myself, I can turn an hour's worth of content into 2 hours real easy, so I'm going to promise you that I'll do my best not to do that, and I have a clock right here that literally says 12:30, so I know at 1:30 I'm trying to get us out of here. But I want to make sure that we get through all of this. Typically, this parents' meeting is primarily about summer camp, and in a lot of ways, it's still going to feel like that, okay? But this year, I'm going to add quite a bit more to it, and I want to just open by telling you why, okay? I have been here at Compass Church as a youth pastor now for going on 13 years, and it's been about 9 years since I've done youth ministry here without a Jake or an Andrew. Okay, so I've been doing youth ministry with Jake or Andrew for about 9 of the almost 13 years that I'm here. And this is the first time that I haven't had those guys here. So it's different for me, okay? In fact, back when Andrew first started working with me, we had like 30 kids in the whole youth group, okay? We now have 120 names that regularly attend our student ministries here. And that's actually kind of small, and that's because of COVID. Like, we've lost some kids that haven't come back. So that said, I really wanted to look at this year, and I just kind of open with a little bit of moment of transparency and just communication on where I feel like God was kind of leading us this year. There's been a lot of change for our students. If you think back to 2000 and really 19 and 20, when you see COVID coming in and all this change, there's a ton of change there with school being online. I mean, I don't have to explain it. You guys lived it too. I don't need to tell you what happened. You were there. There was that change, and we had kind of made youth ministry online, and we did some cool stuff there as best we could. Then we kind of came back, and really one thing to note is prior to COVID, we had a middle school ministry and a high school ministry. The high school ministry met on Tuesday nights. The middle school ministry met on Wednesday nights. We had separate midweeks because we just tried to make those the biggest and best experience for both those age groups. With COVID, we came back for a lot of reasons we won't discuss right now. We combined our high school and middle school ministry, which actually turned out to be a pretty cool thing to do because who knew that God was going to move Andrew and Jake on over to Ohio. So really, with one youth pastor with that many kids, you can't really do separate nights because God also does want me to be a good husband and father, so I got to be home sometime too. So it was like God just kind of orchestrated and moved that. But here's the big thing that I just want to verbalize and recognize. We don't really know how to be a youth ministry yet of high school and middle school combined. And we don't really know how to live without like crazy Jake. I think we still kind of miss him. I think that's something that's going on. That's something that we're grieving still a little bit as a group. And we'd like point and laugh at Jake because he's goofy and fun to point and laugh at, but Jake made an impact in a lot of our lives. So as we were looking this year, and I was just in October, took some time away to just really pray and kind of work with the Spirit of God and just say, Lord, like, I think I know what I want, but you're smarter than me, so let's talk through this. And God really just kind of impressed upon my heart to spend a year strategically just trying to grow our group together. Right now, 7th graders don't really know who the seniors are, and the seniors don't really care who the 7th graders are. And those of you who aren't in 7th grade, you're like, that's funny. Those of you who are in 7th grade, you're like, what? Okay, it's a senior thing. Juniors too, if we're honest. But we need to spend some time valuing and understanding the value of each other and the different age groups and kind of this dynamic of being a combined youth group. I don't want us to exist together. I want us to love each other. I want to teach our students that the body of Christ is about unity. When we hear the word unity, a lot of times it's like, you know, left and right or black and white, but it's also just actually loving each other with where we're at. I mean, all those things are true, but I wanted to spend some time really kind of looking this year at our juniors getting to know who the 7th graders are and having that matter to both of them. I wanted them to know each other's name. I wanted them to have stories that they shared together. I wanted them to understand who each other is. I wanted them to give each other a high five on midweeks rather than walk right by each other because they don't really know each other exists. So I wanted to spend a year teaching our students, teaching our youth group how to love each other and love God. You might recognize those ideas. I didn't make them up myself. It's from Matthew 22. Someone asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? Jesus is like, that's easy. I can tell you that. It's love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it. Love one another as yourself. Upon these two depend the whole law and the prophets, which means the entire word of God depends on these two statements. So if the word of God is summed up by loving God and loving people, then I think our youth group should be the same. And a lot of times we think about loving people, it's all about outside the church, which is obviously an important thing. But I want to make sure that we love each other well, so that we can go together and love the world. Okay, so that's kind of where my heart is at. That's the why behind all the whats that I'm about to share with you, okay? So we're going to be walking through the calendar. I'm going to start strangely. I'm just going to go furthest out and start working backwards. So we're going to start first by talking about camp. I'm going to be walking through multiple things. We're starting with camp. If you have questions, go ahead and just write those down or make a note. I will do a Q&A at the end, but just for the sake of getting through everything, I want to make sure that I just get to go, okay? So I get my 5 minutes for the intro. You've watched the video. Is everyone ready? This is called a fire hose, and its name is Mike. So brace yourself, okay, because you're about to get a lot, okay? Here we go. Okay, let's talk about summer camp 2022, Hume SoCal. This is our second year at Hume SoCal. We've been going to Hume. This is now our 8th year in a row. We spent the first 6 years at Hume San Diego, which was a camp on Point Loma Nazarene University, and we called it Beach Camp because you spent multiple days at the beach, and it was real nice, okay? It was wonderful. To some degree, I still miss it, but I'll tell you what made me miss it less. You ready for this? Hume SoCal. Okay, and all the teenagers like, yeah, I know, okay? The beautiful part about Hume is I don't have to sell it to you, Mom and Dad, because your kids will do that for me. They absolutely love it. It's the best thing we do every single year. I absolutely love it, okay? I want to describe this. This is 5 days of recreation, lake activities, lifelong memories, and above all, by the grace of God, the goodness of God, is a deep and unparalleled spiritual growth that teenagers go through while they're at camp. When I was younger, I used to say it shouldn't be like that. They should be able to grow everywhere. Well, here's the deal. This is what I've learned. Camp, for all intents and purposes, is a little foretaste of heaven. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. That's not meant to be funny. Think about it. They're removed from distractions. They're removed from any trials or troubles that are going on. They're plopped on a bus with all the people they love or want to impress or want to date. They're driven 5 hours, which is kind of fun because we make it fun. Then they're dumped in the middle of a forest with a lake and a blob. And there's games upon games. There's people upon people. There's youth staff that love them, that are pursuing them. There's decent food. Can't call it good. It's decent. And then there's these morning and nightly moments where together we go to the chapel and the Spirit of God smacks us in the face and we leave in awe. The truth is, it is a little taste of heaven. In some ways, that's what heaven's going to be like. You don't have to worry about all that stuff. You just get to go and be with Jesus. And that's what camp is. And God moves. I'm telling you, I've been doing youth ministry for 20 years. God moves at camp in ways I don't see any other time. It's like an entire year's worth of youth group in 5 days. And it is absolutely divine, absolutely heavenly. Hume Lake Christian Camps have been doing summer camps since the 80s. It is, in my opinion, the Cadillac of Christian camps. I guess you could say I'm an expert. I've been doing camps, going to camps. I've never seen anything like Hume. This is the top of the line. In every manner of speaking. In every category, it is the best of the best. It is absolutely, and the students will tell you this, it's the best thing that we do every year, okay? I get so excited when we get to do this parents' meeting. So what I want to do is just kind of walk through the dates, kind of the cost, some of the information. Again, if you have questions that I don't answer, Feel free to ask them at the end. I'm more than happy to answer them, okay? So we're going to do 2 camps. Interestingly enough, Andrew and Jake always ran middle school camp. Guess who's running middle school camp? Dad, okay? And that's the kids know that. Actually, what do you guys call me, the middle schoolers? You call me Grandpa now, don't you? Papa. No, it was Grandpa Mike, wasn't it? Because it was Papa Jake. Papa, yeah, anyway. Whatever offensive thing you say, I try to forget it. But anyway, I'm going to be leading middle school camp. I'll be leading middle school camp with our intern, where is he, DJ? Is DJ here? DJ right here. This is intern DJ. That's not his job. He's not a DJ. His name is DJ. Desmond Jones Rowe, right? Desmond James Jones? Jaheem. Okay. Anyway, we'll be working. We'll have, obviously, small group leaders, as we always do. Middle school camp is going to take place on June 20th through the 25th. June 20th through the 25th, okay? That is, yes, a Monday through a Saturday. That's different than it used to be, not from last year. Last year it was Monday through Saturday, okay? 20th through the 25th. High school camp will be July 4th through the 9th. July 4th through the 9th, that is Micah's birthday. That's why he's screaming. July 4th through the 9th. So those are the dates. Every year I get the question, could you move those? Doesn't work for me. I can't. I book those weeks in October when I have to jump on them or they go away quickly. So those are the dates. Last year, the cost of camp was $570. This year, through a lot of prayer and faith, it's going to be $575. Why do I say a lot of prayer and faith? I'll tell you. COVID was a thing last year. And long story short, summer camps turned out to be a hotbed for spreading COVID all over the country. There's actually truth to this. So much so that the insurance companies, who are undoubtedly experiencing lawsuits, have raised the cost of camps 70%, sometimes higher in other places. So Hume sent all the youth pastors an email in the fall and said, we really don't know how this is going to work, but we have to raise the cost of camps significantly just to break even because of what the insurance companies are doing to us because of COVID. I was like, dang, this is getting really expensive. I don't like it's one thing to want a Cadillac, it's another thing to be able to afford one. You know what I'm saying? And that's important to me. I want to recognize, I'm a parent. I'm sending 2 kids to camp, okay? This is a reality. So here's what we're going to do. Every year, I'll get into details in a second, but every year we do this thing called a golf tournament. You've probably heard of them. We call it the Summer Camp Classic here at Compass Church, and the goal is to raise enough money to pay for transportation, which, as you should know, is $8,000 to get kids there and back on buses, $4,000 for each camp, okay? Over the many years in the past, that golf tournament has raised exactly what we needed to pay for that cost. So where other camps, other churches, in fact, I'd say most churches are charging for the cost of camp, the cost of their staff, and the cost of transportation, we are going to put in faith this year only charge parents the cost of camp. I'm building a team. This is also a shameless plug for those of you who have the gifts or talents or experience to help me on this team. I'm building a team that's going to help me work together to make our golf tournament go from an $8,000 fundraiser to a $12,000 fundraiser. I'm going to just step out in faith that God is going to provide that. If he doesn't, it's going to hit our youth ministry budget. And whatever, it's good. The kids are worth it. So we're going to charge $575 per person for camp this year because that is the exact amount that Hume is charging me per kid. I also have to pay $300 per staff person as well as transportation. But my prayer and belief and hope is that our golf tournament will raise $12,000 so that I can pay for both of those out of those funds and not charge you at all. So the first thing I'd like to request is that you join me in, and I'm being serious. I'd like to request you actually join me in prayer for this. Let's collectively, as a body of believers, just come before God and ask him, we need $12,000. We always get $8,000. I've got a team of people that I'm building that are looking at me going, we can do 12. So I go, cool. You said it. I believe it. God's going to do it. Let's go for it. So pray with me. Honestly, I invite you to pray with me on that. And then secondly, if any of you have any experience and time, then I am building a team. The money really is in business sponsorships. And that I don't mean to sound like a salesman, but the truth is, if you own a business or you have a friend that owns a business, we have this whole side of sponsorships that we do in our golf tournament that helps give them some exposure to the 100-plus golfers that we expect, but also gives the students some money, okay? So every year we average about 6 to 8 business sponsors. This year my goal is to hit 12 to 16. And I just believe that there's some of you in this room, you're like, I know someone who can either help Mike as a business sponsor, like they have the giftings, abilities, and networking to do that, or maybe you know a business, that it's a friend or a family member or a coworker or a neighbor that you can be like, hey, this is happening. Are you interested? So just, if that's you, please come see me afterwards. There's already someone in this room that I was going to talk to, and I'm just remembering that I want to talk to. So anyway, so just pray with me on that, and then if you have the experience or anything like that, please come help me. We need the help for that. So all that to say, $575. Is that right? Is that what it says in your packets? Okay, good. First deposit is $75, and that's due anytime. The online registration went live at noon, okay? If you have the Compass Church app, you just download the app, click on Student Ministries. You'll see high school and middle school camp registration links right there. That's how we're going to have everyone sign up for camp this year. So if you don't have the Compass Church app, you might want to start downloading that right now. You go to your app store, just search Compass Church AZ, 3 separate words. 3 separate words, Compass Church AZ. You can start to register. It's $75 secures a spot. A second deposit is due on April 15th, and then the balance will be due the 21st of June. And the reason we do that for both camps is because our accountant comes to me. Candidly, we're the exchanging of about $60,000 takes place when it comes to camp, and making payments as we go. So actually having all that money in the bank when we have to write those checks is very helpful for a church. So June 20th, the day that middle school leaves for camp is when everything is due, because that's the first check I have to write is that day. And then having the cash in for the next one is very helpful. So that's that. I have pre-registered 35 spots for our middle school camp, and I've registered 50 spots for high school camp. Here's why. Middle school is moving up a fairly large group. I need to be prepared for that for high school because high school is graduating a very small group. So we have a larger number. Middle school is 35 spots. Last year, we took exactly 100. It was 53 high school, 47 middle school. I'm not sure how middle school is going to fill up this year, especially without Jake. I mean, I know I'm cooler and better looking, but I'm not as funny. Anyway, so we'll just kind of see how that works. Right now, both camps have more spots. So if I needed to, if all those spots filled up, I could go back and get more. And in case you're sitting here like, Mike, I don't have $75 right now. I don't want you to stress about that. I already have 50 spots and 35 spots. Those are not going to disappear. Let me rephrase that. I've never seen all those fill up until like April. Like, not everyone's sitting here going, hey, here's 75, here's another 75, here's 400. Like, okay, you get the point. When you're ready to register, the spots are there. If it fills up and you go to register, give me a call. I'll go try and get some more. It really shouldn't. It's typically not a problem. But it is first come, first serve, okay? Last year, I did have to put some kids on the waiting list. I did not have to leave anyone behind. I've never had to do that. God always works that out. Okay? If you have questions on that, please write those down because I'm going to move on. Who gets to go to camp? Middle school camp is for incoming 6th graders through outgoing 8th graders. High school camp is for incoming 9th graders through outgoing 12th. Now, you might be going, aren't outgoing 8th graders, incoming 9th graders the same thing? Yes, they are. The camp doesn't care which one you go to if you're 8th grade going into 9th. You could go to middle school camp, you could go to high school camp. So I don't love to be like the control freak who's like, you're all going to this one. So I've always kind of said you get to pick. Parents, candidly, I absolutely believe the best decision is for your kid to go to high school camp, and here's why. High school camp, high school youth group is when they move up. Most middle schoolers are kind of intimidated, like, oh, the high schoolers are scary. What they don't realize is that when they go away with them, like, oh, those people are pretty cool. Sending your 8th grader to middle school camp or to high school camp kind of prepares them with those relationships and just shoots them off forward with that that high school ministry they're going to be a part of for the next 4 years. I'm not telling you have to send your kid. I'm telling you if it's up to me, 10 times out of 10, I would say send your kid to high school camp. I've seen them struggle when they don't go to that camp. Every year I see it. Every year I see it. If they go to middle school camp instead of high school camp, the transition is harder. And sometimes I have to work pretty hard to get them to even come because they're like, I'm not a part of the high school. Yeah, because you didn't go to camp. Okay? So I will work with you on that. It's not the end of the world. I'm not trying to say doomsday or anything like that, but I just want to communicate that with you. So please be sure, obviously talk to your kids, sign them up for whatever camp they want. I do not have a camp theme yet. We start meeting with this stuff before Hume's ready to throw that out, so I will introduce that and have all that once Hume is ready for it. I don't know the theme. I don't know anything about camp this year. Typically, students are excited to see that, and I didn't want to tell them they weren't because I wanted them to come. So anyway, moving beyond camp real quick, some fundraisers. I just want to make sure we understand. We work very hard at Compass Church to create fundraisers that are not super intrusive on the body here at the church, but also raise some money. So let me walk through some of these, okay? We have the Summer Camp Classic. Again, if you don't know anyone and you don't know businesses or anything like that, even just coming and golfing at that, every golfer, we earn $40 roughly. So it's helpful. So anything that you can do to help us is help that I will take because we've got $12,000 to raise. That Summer Camp Classic is scheduled to be at Eagle's Nest in Pebble Creek on May 7th. That's Saturday, May 7th, okay? So that is when that's going to be. So please be praying for that, and please be willing to join that team. We have a Servathon. For those of you who are new to Compass, Servathon it really is a big money maker. So here's what we do with Servathon. Again, I told you it's going to be a fire hose, so let's just keep going. Servathon is a fundraiser that benefits 3 groups of people, okay? And this is where I need you to hear me because this can get complicated. If you've never done it before, I want you to understand it, okay? Servathon is where we partner with Streetlight USA, which is a nonprofit organization in Phoenix that works to rescue and rehabilitate girls who have been kidnapped or trafficked in the sex trafficking industry. So all the girls there have been rescued from that industry to some degree or another. That nonprofit is very private. They don't let anyone know who they are, where they're at, that kind of thing, because they don't want anyone to know where the girls are. So they like to partner with churches and youth pastors who can kind of organize groups to go and do service projects because they're a nonprofit. They need help. They don't have tons of money. So we kind of mobilize, 50 or more high school, middle school students every year, and we head out to Streetlight, and we're there like 8 in the morning. We work all morning, and we just do whatever it is they need. And they're always ready for us. We work. Okay, it's work. I remember who was Rand or Jay? Was one of you? It was where was Rand? I think Rand did my mower last year. Was that you? Yeah. I got tired. I'm grandpa. You know what I'm saying? So these guys work, and it's wonderful. It's an amazing experience, amazing organization. I love partnering with them. So they're the first ones to benefit because I'm going to take kids there. The second group to benefit is actually, well, let me change that so that it makes sense. The people who donate to your child and sponsor them while they're serving, okay? So it's an a-thon. You've probably done an a-thon before. It's like a hit-a-thon. I'll sponsor you $1 every hit you get. In this sense, it's like I'm going to sponsor you while you work at Streetlight. So I'll give $100 to my nephew, and my nephew then gets that $100 if he goes and serves, okay? If he doesn't go and serve, that $100 bypasses my nephew and goes into a pool that other students who did serve get to experience. So it benefits 3 people. It benefits Streetlight because they get a group to serve. It benefits the donor because they get the benefit of a tax-deductible donation, okay? And then it benefits your child because if they work, every penny that they earn goes to their camp. Here's the kicker. We want to be legal and upstanding citizens, things like that. You cannot ever, under any circumstances, donate to your own child in that sense, okay? You will never get a donation for sending your kid to camp. That is a payment. You're getting something in return, okay? You don't get to use the 501c3 status of the church to get a tax write-off because you sent your kid to camp. Okay, that's not how it works. The only way to benefit from that is if you and another parent wanted to trade donations, okay? So my sister is sending her kids. I could donate to her kids. She could donate to mine. You can do that kind of thing. And that's done all the time. That's not even frowned upon. That's just a thing, okay? So that's how the Streetlight works. I do not have a date for Streetlight yet because I just got the date for the golf tournament, and that was the thing that I need to do first. So I'll be going to Streetlight, trying to get that date, get on the calendar, and get it out to you. But when that date comes, here's what happens. We start to send out all kinds of information to parents. Say, hey, the Serve-a-thon is up and live and running. We do an online donation database. It's this whole thing. Once I produce the fundraising materials and get those to you, once I provide a day to serve, I'm done. I have given you a tool to use that can raise you the entire cost of your kids' camp if you want to work hard enough at it. Last year we had a girl, I think she's even here, Rory. Wasn't it you? Where's Rory? Is Rory here? She was here. She bailed. Anyway, Rory raised like double the cost for camp and helped someone else go to camp, okay? This fundraiser is the biggest gift that I've ever seen in youth ministry, okay? Neighbors, coworkers, family members, like whatever. You're the only ones who can't donate to your kid. Take the information, get it out to everyone, get them to donate. They get a tax write-off at the end of the year, tax-deductible donation, okay, just like when you tithe. And then your kid gets all of it if they serve, okay? I'm going to keep moving on. If you have questions, you can come see me after that. I will get that information out as soon as I can. I do not have that yet. If your child is in 8th grade or higher, our Compass Cafe, the place where you get the best coffee you've ever had in your life every Sunday, that place is fully run by students, 8th graders through 12th graders, okay? That is a job. They can apply for that job. Here's how we do that, okay? The church buys all the coffee stuff. So the organization of the church, our Welcome Ministries, pays for all that coffee, all that stuff. Students go and work the cafe. So any donations that are received during the day go into a pot, and every kid who served gets their fair share of that. And it gets put into an account the church holds on to, and we let parents know the balance right about mid to end May so that you can know how much your kid has in there, and then we can just apply that to camp if you want. So we have upperclassmen who are managers who often work multiple services a week. They can make $200, $300, $400 in a year at the cafe because of the amount of time they work. So if you have a child who's in 8th grade or higher, I think Devin would absolutely love some more workers. She's giving me a face and nodding her head. Okay, Devin's been running that. You can apply. We have applications. It is a job. We hire and we fire, okay, because you got to do a good job, okay? So that is there too. Okay. Lastly, on camp, registration's open right now. You can begin to do that on the app as you wish. Cafe money that you've raised working in the last year cannot be used to pay the initial deposit. So the $75, the two $75 payments cannot come out of Compass Cafe. Here's why. If for some reason you back out of camp, that's the amount of money that I cannot refund you. So Hume will, let's say the day before camp, you back out, you're fully in for $575. I will refund you all $575 minus $150, which is what the camp is going to keep. At least that's how they've done it in the past, okay? So I don't want, it gets really confusing if we're using funds from other places for that. So the 75 now and the 75 in April needs to come from you. Cafe can be used on the rest of that balance, okay? That's kind of it for camp. So if I've left any questions, start to write those down. I'm going to keep moving forward here so that I can value our time. Also, I've been told to tell you there's more pizza if you need it. Just saying. Okay, moving up next to the next event that we've got this spring, or this in the next 6 months, is our VBS mission trip. So this is for incoming 8th graders and all of high school, okay? Every year in the summertime, we do Vacation Bible School. If you're not a church person, you're like, I've never heard of that before. I don't know what that means. Vacation Bible School is a summer kids program. It's like a week-long or a camp thing. Every church does it differently, okay? Here at Compass Church, we put on our Vacation Bible School with our high school ministry. In other words, most churches galvanize their kids' ministry program, and they come in, and over these multiple months, they do all this work and put on this big program. We only use our kids ministry program to be like the crew leaders that are taking kids around to things, but the entire program is put on by high school students. The entire program, okay? And that is a big thing that we do in the summer to begin to train and teach our high school students about giving and serving and missions. It's shocking. If you have a high school student who's ever been a part of that, ask them if they want to go again. I would be shocked if they weren't super excited to go, and it's a lot of work. Okay? Incoming 8th graders, I know that you haven't quite moved up into 9th grade yet, but that's something that we want you to be a part of, because by the time VBS is happening, you will be technically 9th graders. So if you want to be a part of that, we actually going to invite you in early for that. So here's what the VBS mission trip looks like, and I highly encourage every high school student at this church to be a part of it. Even if you think it's lame, I won't bother you if you try it once and you hate it. But if you've never tried it, high school students, don't you dare run away from me. You need to come. Trust me. I do not lead you wrong. Okay? I'll send you to high school students who are excited about it every year. Okay? Here's how it works. Let's do the next slide. If you sign up for high school or for this VBS, there's 3 things that you're going to be asked to do, and they're up on the screen. Sunday mornings, I want our entire missions team to be sitting right over here at 8 a.m. You're like, 8 a.m.? Yes. Exactly, 8 a.m. We're going to fill this whole section here. Last year, there was about 35 volunteer high school students. And we every Sunday, well, most Sundays, because some of them bailed, but they won't do that this year. They're better this year. They've learned and grown. They're going to fill this entire time at 8 a.m. We're going to sit as a team. We're going to go to church as a team. We're going to train as a team. This is a team thing. God is calling us to impact the next generation below us. We got to come together as a team. So we're going to be going to church 8 a.m. as a team. Number 2, we're going to participate in the Sunday evening trainings from 6:30 to 7:30, starting the first Sunday in April 3rd, I think it is, okay? So that's on this campus, Sunday evenings, 6:30 to 7:30. We're going to be training for 2 months. Okay? And it's really tough if you miss one of those. It's okay, but it's tough if you miss one of those because there's a lot of learning to do. Okay? There's a skit team, a dance team, a hype team, a craft team, a snack team, rec team, tech team. I think that's most of them. Anyway, so we got to have students on all of those teams, okay? If you are in this room and you are just like the most creative person in the world, and I'm talking to parents, and you just love doing creative stuff, you're like decorating and things like that make me so happy. I do not have a leader for our decorations team, and I'd love to have 2 people step up and say, I want to be in charge of decorations, okay? And you have to be an adult, not a student, so stop raising your hand, teenagers, okay? So I need adults for that, so come see me if you're interested in that. Dates for VBS. The dates for VBS are June 5th through 8th. 5 through 8. So that's a Sunday evening program that's going to move into 2 full-day programs, all day Monday, all day Tuesday. Okay, so it's going to be 5 actual programs. So Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, with a half-day option for preschoolers. Okay, but that is for another crowd, hopefully. Okay, we will be moving onto this campus. Like, it's a mission trip. This room gets cleared of chairs. It's a VBS program during the day and the evening. Then we clear all that up, and it's air mattresses. Girls sleep on this side. Guys sleep on this side. You know why. Yeah, we have adults and teams. It's a great time. Okay, but it's awesome. We'll put movies up on the screen. It's really an amazing time together. We get some campers outside here. We rent some campers, borrow some campers, and they shower in campers. It's a mission trip, okay? Here's the cool part. Guess how much for the VBS mission trip costs you parents who are sending your kid? Nothing, okay? Here's what's cool about it. The history is that small groups, or adult connection groups here at the church, they'll just go, hey, I got this meal, I got this meal, I got this meal. So the church kind of feeds the students as they serve, and then the rest just happens here. If I give them food, then they'll be fine. That's the payoff, okay? So we technically pay them with food. Students who participated went through all that. Okay. The only other thing I ask is that kids who are going to be a part of the VBS are there for the whole VBS. Sometimes I'm like, well, I'll be there for the first night, Sunday night, and then I'm on vacation. It doesn't help me. We got a whole VBS thing going on here. So if we're going to sign up, let's sign up for the whole thing. Anyway. Moving on. Again, questions, please feel free to write those down. We'll ask those in just a minute. I'm doing pretty good on time. What I'm about to introduce is a brand new thing. We've never done this before, and if I'm honest, I'm very nervous about it. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to make anyone feel guilty or weird, but I'm just telling you the truth. Here's the deal. I ran into an organization called Adventure Encounter, and I've known about them for a long time. They're a nonprofit Christian organization that, and it's not just youth ministries. They'll do it for connection groups, adults. It's amazing. But their whole thing is to create really amazing outdoor experiences for people. For teams, for people, for youth groups, for anything like that. And in my opinion, I've been doing this a long time, and hopefully my opinion's right. One of the best ways to really share stories and have a combined experience and kind of grow together is to go away together, okay? So I approached Adventure Encounter, and I said, here, listen up, guys. I've never done this before. It could completely fall on its head. But I just really believe this is something that will work and be very good for our youth group. So here's what I want. And I want an event in May, and I want an event in October. I'll start with October because I can run right by it. Right now, as it's planned, we're going to be spending an overnight at Lake Pleasant in October with Adventure Encounter. They have an island in the middle of Lake Pleasant that we're going to be camping on as a group. We're going to have boats and kayaks and all kinds of stuff that we're going to be doing in the lake. And the theme of that right now is a plan. In Psalm chapter 34, there's this moment where God calls us to be still and know that I am God. And so part of the goal in that fall event is going to be to just get away together overnight, high school, middle school combined, because you don't get to do that at camp. It's kind of hard to do. We're going to be around a campfire, do some worship, have this sermon, and then we're going to send students out in the silence under the stars. We're going to coach them how to just sit in the silence of the presence of God and let God move and speak in their lives. So that's October. That will roughly be $100 to $125 experience. In March, we're going to call this the Spring Break Road Trip. On March 11th, okay, you should have some of this information. Oh, it's on the screen because I don't have anything in a packet yet. March 11th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., we are going to take a road trip in school buses to Cottonwood, Arizona. Okay? I have prepaid in faith, and I have no idea if this is going to work. I've prepaid in faith for 75 kids. Okay? The plan is to go up to Cottonwood, combine our youth group into two large groups. Both groups are a mixture of high school and middle school. Again, we're trying to get them together. And they'll have two different experiences. The first half of the day, one group will be out on the water in kayaks, going down a river on a guided tour with some experts. Okay, they'll have youth staff out there. They'll have these guides from Adventure Encounter out there. It's this wonderful thing they do with youth groups all the time. It is the most amazing, serene, and peaceful thing. And I'm really excited about our students being able to just have this moment of awe and wonder in God's creation together and just enjoying something new and different. So that'll happen for the first group for the first half. And then while that first group is doing that, the other group is going to be with me, so to speak, and some staff from Adventure Encounter. And we're going to be out in the forest playing games that they'll be talking about until the day they die. I'll just leave it at that, okay? Large group games, team building games. Really, really fun, just forest, kind of outdoor wilderness stuff. Right in the middle, we're going to have a lunch. Then two sides are going to flip, okay? And this is a one-day road trip, just kind of like spring break. Friday, March 11th is the Friday where both spring breaks kind of combine. Or, I'm sorry, it's Saturday, not Friday, Saturday. I know. Listen, there's a whole story about what I do with dates and I'm like a 4-year-old when it comes to dates, okay? It might be, in fact, it might even be Friday at this point. Here's what I know. I've looked at the spring breaks. This one works, okay? Whatever the date is. I need to go back to what date do we agree on? Okay. We're going to be going up together, high school, middle school. We're going to be doing this, okay? I got this as cheap as possible. I'm going to subsidize transportation for this out of the youth budget because I'm trying to keep this as cheap as possible. So I'm going to pay for the school buses out of our youth budget this year because I don't want to make this anymore. It's $75 a person. And candidly, I just want to make everything free because I'm a parent and I know. But I'm going to ask you to value this for me. And I know that I can't I don't have scholarships. I don't have any way of paying for people who can't afford that, especially because basically what I'm doing to you is this. Guess what? Camp's open. $75 deposit to get a spot. Also, March 11th, $75 for this event. Also, April, $75 for your second deposit. Like, I get it. I just do. And I'm sorry, but also I'm just really trying to make something awesome for our students here, and I really believe this is it. So if you need financial help, please come talk to me. But at this point, there's not a ton that I have to offer. What I'm asking is that you would, if you can, send your student to this. I want to get our students away in March on spring break. Again, there's something about being on a bus on a road trip. There's something about getting away and having shared experience, shared stories. Being on a kayak, talking about the one time that, I don't know, Lindsay flipped on her kayak and how funny it was. Those types of things. Those moments, those stories, those are the things that bring groups together. We're going to tie this into a series that we're doing. We're transitioning right out of a series through the Beatitudes, where we're looking at the upside-down, crazy love of God. We've got this whole spiritual aspect that we're going to add to it. So I'm throwing this out there. I've got room for 75 kids. We're working on graphics right now and registration right now. We should have that open in the next couple weeks. I'm trying to make this as doable as possible, but I'm just asking you to value sending your kids on that, even though normally I charge just summer camp every year, and this year I'm like, hey, we need to grow closer together. Let's do summer camp and then almost $200 more of other things. And some of you are like, I have 4 kids, and I'm like, I know. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this stuff out here because I really believe this God wants us to do. I'm going to put faith that God's going to just make this happen, and I'm going to work together with you in any way that I can to make this happen for your kids, okay? But that's what's happening this day. There's a lot more to come out on that in the next really week or two, Lord willing, with waivers and information and things like that. So that is going to happen on spring break. We're calling it the Spring Break Road Trip, and I'm hoping that we can fill a couple buses. I really don't have a limit. I just have a base. Like, I'm hoping we get about 75 kids there, but I can take 150 if we want. So it's up to you guys, okay? That is the Spring Break Road Trip. That is everything that I have for events. Before we get to our Q&A, I'm going to take about 4 minutes and explain to you a couple of other things that I want to do to kind of work on, again, bringing our youth group together this year. Okay. Before I get to that, actually, no, let's do this first. How many of you have been parents here at Compass Church and you've had kids going through the youth group for like 5 years or more? Just like you've been around. Okay, put your hands down. Of those parents, do you remember a little thing we used to do called Space Invaders? Okay. Some of you are like, please tell me what Space Invaders is. Don't worry, I will tell you. Again, when you look at how teenagers connect, how people connect, shared stories, shared experiences, Space Invaders is just a powerful, strange little thing, okay? And I put this up here in our little YouTube thing because you'll notice, and I'll talk about this in a moment on our We'd Love to Connect with You page, that there's a way for you to scan to our YouTube. You can actually watch an episode of Space Invaders. We have about 15 of them. One that we did right before COVID. We had the bar chef resident. We did all 3 kids, and we'll have to show that one again. That's fun. Here's what it is. You and I partner together. So what's going to happen is I'm going to create a note in my phone in a moment and start writing down names because parents are going to come up to me and say, I want in on that. Basically what it is you give me permission to come to your house while you're there, while your kid isn't because they're at school, and then we go through their bedroom, make fun of what we find, film it, and show it to the youth group. Now, here's the thing. I really encourage you, it'd be very important for you to watch one, okay? Because what I feel like we do a really good job of is towing the line between privacy. First off, we won't show anything that parents don't approve. So what we do is once we shoot the video and edit it, we send it to mom and dad and go, is this okay? Is there anything in here where you're like, that would horrify them? I've had that. I've had parents be like, you have to take this out. And I'm like, no, they won't care. And they're like, I know my kid. They'll care. And I took it out, and then I asked the kid, and they're like, I would have hated you. So I listen to you. I really do, because you know your kids better than I do. But this is special. Like, I wish that you could all be here on a Wednesday night when we show these videos. It is an experience. It's a 6 to 8 minute video that we show of us just having a great time looking through all their stuff. There's always a drawer that you put a sticky note on that says the no-fly zone, because we don't want to go in the underwear drawer. That's just help us out. Like, you'll tell us those types of things. So we think through all of that. We take pictures of the room before we get in there so it gets all put back together exactly, so they never know what happened until they show up to youth group. And the video is like right there, and it's like, we were at Lindsay's room, and she's like, and the whole youth group's like, yeah. Anyway, we're doing that again. I want to start shooting those in March. I would like to do 10 of those, around 8 to 10 of those this year. So I need 8 to 10 parents to come up to and like say, I'm going to make a list, and we're going to, and I'll call you, and we'll set up a time, and we'll come and shoot, okay? Again, I just really think that's going to be something that we're going to do. There's another thing that I'll tell you about we're going to do here. We're going to try it. Again, shared experiences, the kind of thing. Have you guys seen the show The Masked Singer? I don't like it. It's a dumb show. And that's just me. That's just me. No, like, seriously, if that's your favorite show, you do you. However, studies show that, like, there's something special, especially when you're teenagers, about being able to laugh together, experience things together, dance together. So we're going to do this little thing. We're going to try it this year. It's called The Masked Dancer. We are going to buy mascot costumes. And once a month, we're going to have this time on Wednesday nights where we get 2 staff into costumes and 2 students into costume. The staff will have a dance-off. Then the students will have a dance-off. And no one will know who it is. You're just going to vote for the costume. It's like, oh, I vote for the panda person, right? And then after the end, you can take your own. But anyway, we're going to be doing things like that just to try and create those moments in youth ministry that are just really stories and things that you can remember and have fun. And anyway. So that's something else we're going to try. Those are just a couple little things that in events that we're already doing on Wednesday nights. So we'll have students start signing up for that and staff start signing up for that. If you know anyone who owns cheap mascot costumes, I'm in the market. As long as they don't smell too bad. Last thing I want to cover is this little page. We'd love to connect with you. I tried to make this as simple as possible with QR codes. Parents, we work pretty hard to try and make sure that everyone feels looped in for communication, so that you never kind of like, how did I not know about this, okay? So that's where this page comes in. We have we call it the Compass Students Partnering with Parents page, because I'm not creative and I don't come up with good titles. It's a Facebook page. There's about 106 of you on that already. I try to post updates and announcements and sometimes some update videos. I just try and keep parents informed. So you can join that or request to join that Facebook page just by scanning that QR code. It'd be a really important thing for you to be on. It's also a place where if you don't have my number, you can just message me or post questions. I'd like to even encourage parents, like if you're having a hard time and you need help with something, that can be kind of a forum and a platform for us to have each other's backs, and because it takes a village, and some of you need a village from time to time because life gets tough. So that's the Facebook one. We also have an Instagram. If you ever really want to kind of know what we're doing with your kids, this is where we post. You'll see Wednesday nights we post on our stories. Devin does that. We have some people that post on that. We do some announcements there, but it'd be really important for you to follow our Instagram. Also, you have our YouTube channel, which is where we post Space Invaders. So if you're on the fence about whether or not you want me to do it, you should go watch a couple episodes. You can see that on our YouTube page. And then lastly, and perhaps the most important, is our parents' text update list. I send out text messages, group text messages weekly to students and parents, just reminding them, hey, tonight's midweek, tonight's this, here's a parents' meeting. It's very easy for you to subscribe to that. You just simply create a text in your phone. You're texting the number 480-933-6818. It's on the sheet. And in the actual message part, you just type in the numbers CSMP, all caps, and when you click send, that's going to register you for our parents' communication. So you'll start getting those communications. Again, it's just a text message. You can ignore it. You don't have to reply. Although I do get a note if you reply. So anyway, that's everything. 118. Okay. So undoubtedly, you have questions. So let's take the last bit of our time here and let's just raise our hands, ask questions. Students, if you wouldn't mind kind of leaving your questions until I get through some of the parent ones first, because I know some of you sometimes will ask. But so parents, any questions? It's really bright up here. Yeah, Nancy. No, they were not available for us to come on Sunday. Yeah, so Inside Out, which is happening in February, I typically try to do a youth group trip to Streetlight, but Streetlight said sorry, that we can't do it that date. So this year, I'm still meeting with them. We might try to do a combined thing for students, or we might just say, hey, students, go with your family. Or if your family doesn't go to church, talk to Pastor Mike, and we'll figure something out, that kind of thing. But yeah, unfortunately, they didn't have a team there to host us. Good question. This is how this is good. This is how I remember to keep details. What other questions? There's nothing about camp. Come on, hit me up, guys. This is where we're at. We're all here. Nothing about, in the back. Sorry, I told you, it's very bright. The simple answer to a complex answer is no. Long story short, we do more fundraisers in this youth ministry than most churches allow their youth ministries to do. Anyway, so I'm not really supposed to do any more than we're already doing. Now, if you wanted to do that on your time, not necessarily here, like we're not going to do a bake sale on Sunday morning kind of thing, but if you had an idea that you guys wanted to gather together as a family and do, and I can support you, then I'm happy to do that. But we already do 3 fundraisers during the year, and it gets kind of tacky and weird as a church. Like, we have to be careful because we're congregation funded, that the youth guy isn't getting up all the time going, here's a new fundraiser. So it's a balance. Hopefully that's a decent enough answer for you. But come talk to me if you have an idea. I'm happy to collaborate and see what we can do together. Yeah. Yeah. The honest answer is I don't know. Let me tell you about last year and then what they told us this year was going to look like. Last year, is it getting darker in here? Oh, is that for me? You're sweet. Last year, it was a big dorm room, like a big room full of bunk beds, like 50 people slept in a room, I think was the exact number. We were told that they were going to go in this year on the off and split those rooms into 2 or 3 per side. So instead of 1 large room, it could become up to 4 to 6 smaller rooms. I anticipate that being the case. But either way, typically what we do is we just make sure that we have our staff and students. So I work I tell them where kids sleep is what I'm trying to get out. I'm struggling with. So, or I don't know exactly how the rooms are going to look this year. I do expect, whether I'll be disappointed or not is another question, but I do expect it to feel a little bit more dorm room-ish this year with maybe 3 bunk beds in a room, 6 people, that kind of thing. Once I know that for sure, I'll let you know. Yes. Student staff who has a memory. Does anyone remember? Do they take cards? They take cards? In the shop. Yeah. They don't have lockers. They didn't. They could. What we told parents last year was to send a lock with their bag. Yeah. Because the truth is, in those large rooms, I mean, high school, we had our own large room, but I think middle schooler had to split. So you're sharing that room with the church, and so I locked my bag. It's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have any last year. I still think it's wise. But yeah, I think that's very fair. I don't think we had any issues last year. Yeah, last year the issue was like how to keep kids from catching COVID and infecting a whole camp, which we succeeded in high school. Middle school we didn't. By the way, middle school we do have a goal of going the whole week this year, just so you know. So I'm just joking, but anyway, you got to laugh at those things. What else are you going to do, Nancy? I do expect that. Again, I'm glad you asked that because I want to clarify. The camp's in California. So Hume was not requiring testing. California was requiring Hume to test. What? I don't think so. I don't think so. What happens is they require a negative test within 48, 72 hours before camp, and then you're good. I do not think they're going to wade into the requiring a vaccine. Because, Yep, that's correct. You want to unplug that for me, DJ? That's going to drive me nuts. It's the drainer thing. Sounds like something's suffocating. Okay, sorry. Squirrel. Did we answer that? Did you have another one? Okay. I don't know yet. I'm waiting back for graphics and a few more pieces of information from Adventure Encounter. The goal would be by February 12th. 3 weeks prior to the date is like the deadline that I want to open registration. So I'd love to do it this week. If I get everything I need, then it'll be this week. Jay. You mean for Sunday nights? So high school small groups become training. Because remember, Hello? Sorry. We meet high school small groups every Sunday night from 6:30 to 8, and those just kind of take a back seat for a few months while we train. So it's kind of still there, but not April and May. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir. I don't know. Hopefully free. So what he asked is that the activities, which I forgot to mention, by the way, there's an activity sheet. This is last year's activity sheet in your packet. These are kind of the things that they can do at camp. Last year, for the first time ever, they made all of those free. Some of the premium ones in previous years had a little $5 fee on them, but last year they made them free. We'll see. Yes, sir. We're just going to send you guys alone. It'll be me, Josh, and DJ, or Devin. So, yes. Yes. If you want to know my summer calendar, it's VBS, 1 week, middle school camp, 1 week, high school camp, 12-year sabbatical. That's my summer plan. I'm really quite excited about it, to be honest with you. I love my job, so it's not, it's fun, yeah. I don't know. But don't be afraid to keep asking me, because when I do know, I can answer it. We're about a month out until Hume starts releasing details for summer camp. I just like to tell us early because it gives us more time to save money and prepare for it because it's expensive, yeah. Last year, that was middle school that wouldn't let you do the zip line. High school did zip line all day. And I made it look good. I'm just saying. That's what my wife told me. So, yeah. Didn't it break, though? Like, you guys, it broke. The blob. You're talking about the blob. The blob broke. You broke both. Yeah, they should both be there. Yeah, I would expect that they're both working. The zip line is so fun, but you have to have some guts to jump off that ledge. I'm just saying. It's one thing to jump on a big pillow from 30 feet up. It's another thing to just Tarzan over a lake of water, you know what I'm saying? So, any other questions? We have 2 minutes. Going once. Point if I'm not seeing someone. Going twice. Matthew. I'm just kidding, buddy. What's up? Yes. Yep. Going twice. Okay, 3 times. Okay, so as more information comes out, I will start to communicate via our communication list. Okay, so parents, please be plugged in. Please keep your eyes out for the Facebook. If you just requested to join the Facebook group, I will approve it. It is a private group, and I do that on purpose. So please make sure you are plugged in on these communication points. If you're watching this online of a recording, I will post a PDF link of this underneath on the link on YouTube. So make sure you grab a packet, okay? Let me pray, and then we'll dismiss. God, I just come before you, and I bring you 2022. This year is something that you've known about since the foundations of the earth, God. You've known every day since creation. God, so in that sense, Lord, it seems strange that I would ask you to be with us this year, because not only are you with us, Lord, you've known before the foundations what 2022 was going to look like in Goodyear, Arizona. So I just lift up these students. I know you love them. I know you are pursuing them. I know that you deeply want a relationship with them. And not just one that saves them, Lord, but one that is deep and growing. I pray, God, that your Spirit would use our calendar, use our events, use our small groups, use our relationships, use all of the efforts that we put in to solidify a deep and authentic love in every student for you. And Lord, where the calendar, as a parent, I'm just looking at this calendar going, I want to send my kid to every event because it looks fun and it's awesome. But there's parents in this room looking at the calendar going, God, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to afford it. Lord, may we take a deep breath in your Spirit right now and just know that you will work it out one way or another. May we trust you, rely on you, and hope in you as you work out this year with our kids. And Lord, anyone who for some reason can't send their kids or can't afford it, Lord, it's one event here or there. There's a lot more than a spring break event or things like that, God. I just pray that you would use everything we do this year for your glory and to draw students to you. Thank you for all these parents and the partnership that we get with them as we work together to disciple their kids. In Jesus' name I pray. And everybody said, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I'll be up front if you have any questions.